Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're in the Mississippi Bayou. No, we're not. We're actually down at the Brownsville Community Pond, which is about a 10-minute walk from where my parents live. And in case you didn't recognize, in case you thought this was some famous Bollywood actress,
Right.
This is Bhava Bhakti, my wife. So we've come here, and if you hear a bzzz sound in the background, that's this little fan, because we're trying to keep the bugs away. Of course, she's trying to keep cool as well. But somehow there are lots of little gnats.
Yes.
But we are determined to read, and we keep coming outside, determined. So
Yeah.
here we go. We're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the background, because the pond is right near a major road, you'll hear cars passing, so it's not exactly the most serene of serene places. But here we are reading anyhow.
Canto 3, Chapter 27, Text 21, Chapters Understanding Material Nature. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 21. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one can get liberation by seriously discharging devotional service unto me and thereby hearing for a long time about me or from me. By thus executing one's prescribed duties, there will be no reaction and one will be freed from the contamination of matter. Purport. Sridhar Swami comments on this connection that by association with material nature alone, one does not become conditioned. Conditional life begins only after one is infected by the modes of material nature. If someone is in contact with the police department, that does not mean that he's a criminal. As long as one does not commit criminal acts, even though there is a police department, he is not punished. Similarly, the liberated soul is not affected, although he is in the material nature. Even the Supreme Personality of Godhead is supposed to be in association with material nature when he descends, but he is not affected. One has to act in such a way that in spite of being in the material nature, he is not affected by contamination. Although the lotus flower is in association with water, it does not mix with the water. That is how one has to live, as described here by the Personality of Godhead, Kapila Dev. Animita nimitena swadharmena malat mana. Nice example. Like someone might work for the police department, be like admin or whatever they do. I don't know what they do there, but
Maybe they're a police officer.
well, yeah, that means they eat donuts or whatever.
Okay.
But at the same, and they're in the same police. What are they called? Station.
Barracks.
No, station, police station, as a criminal that they got in the jail, in the cell, but they're not on the same level. I'm doing my admin and you're in there because you committed a crime. So in the same way, it's true, like we're existing in this material world, material nature, and everyone's going about their business, waking up, going to sleep, eating, depending, whatnot. But everyone is not the same as far as how they are infected by the material nature.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I thought this was very powerful. Just the distinction between being in contact with the material nature or being affected by the modes of material nature. Excuse me, I think that's a very profound distinction, because regardless of whatever level we're on in our Krishna consciousness, we are going to be in contact with the material nature.
Yeah.
The point is whether we're going to be affected by the modes of material nature. So material nature, in one sense itself, is not the issue, as Prabhupada is pointing out. The issue is the effect of the modes of material nature on us and how much we're affected by that. And I was reading this morning in Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani and Shiva Ramaraj's book about how to, basically, the more that we're progressed in our spiritual life, one could say, once we come to the platform of Nishta, which, as it's defined in this book, according to other scriptures, is very high level, and it means more or less you've become free from the impact and influence of the modes of material nature, and we've become freed from the bad habits that we may have. So the only way to become free from these things is by progressive, steady, regulated hearing and chanting, association with devotees, and performance of service. So this is the purifying agent or prescription for doing that. Otherwise, we will be affected by the three modes of material nature. Sometimes, you could walk through a marketplace and not be alert or attracted by so many things, even things you used to partake in. But if the material energy is alluring you and attracting you and engaging you, that means we're not quite on that platform. So we have to be super careful. It's very noisy here. So one can be liberated from all adverse circumstances simply by seriously engaging in devotional service. There you go. How this devotional service develops and becomes mature is explained here. So, in the beginning, one has to perform his prescribed duties with a clean mind. Clean consciousness means Krishna consciousness. One has to perform his prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. There is no necessity of changing one's prescribed duties. Very important. One simply has to act in Krishna consciousness. So you can continue to do what you're doing, but it has to be in the right consciousness. In discharging Krishna conscious duties, one should determine whether, by his professional or occupational duties, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. So another measurement. In another place in the Bhagavatam, it is said, Svanushti tasya dharmasya samsadir haritoshanam. Everyone has some prescribed duties to perform, but the perfection of such duties will be reached only if the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is satisfied by such actions. For example, Arjuna's prescribed duty was to fight, and the perfection of his fighting was tested by the satisfaction of Krishna. Krishna wanted him to fight, and when he fought for the satisfaction of the Lord, that was the perfection of his professional devotional duty. Powerful. On the other hand, when, contrary to the wish of Krishna, he was not willing to fight, that was imperfect. So, like this final verse, Sarvadharma Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, have no fear, abandon all varieties of religion, and just surrender unto me. So, it's really about what Krishna wants. And that's not always so easy to know either. And that's a big question often asked is, okay, so I'm meant to be trying to please Krishna. How do I know when Krishna is pleased? Well, one answer is that we'll feel pleased in ourselves. We will feel genuinely happy and satiated. But also when the spiritual master is pleased, when the sadhus are pleased, and so it's not always so easy and clear to determine that. Arjuna had many good reasons why not fighting was the right reason, right thing to do. But Krishna said there's only one really important reason for you to do what I'm asking, and that's because it's meant to uphold Dharma, and I'm asking you to do it, kind of thing. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, some people are fortunate that their spiritual masters will have, because all of them are different, so some will guide more directly, and then that you can take that as what will please Krishna directly, because they say do like this, do like that, go there, do that. But most of us don't have that, so like you said, it's following the prescribed method and knowing, feeling that change in the heart and feeling happy. Mm-hmm. And obviously you may or may not have, okay, your spiritual master, like a direct line to him, but you definitely, or hopefully, maybe not always, but have devotees around you, or some sort of sadhu sangha, some sort of authority or otherwise that we can take guidance and shelter of, and in that way also understand, like you said, from the sadhus, what's the right thing to do, rather than acting for our mind. I'm saying Krishna wants me to go snowboarding, so I'm going to give it all up and go snowboarding, because that's what Krishna wants, and he wants me to eat pizza every day.
I mean, it is possible Krishna does want these things for some people.
It's just not for me, unfortunately.
Yes. Hypothetically, yeah. Someone who runs a pizza restaurant for Krishna, he may be eating pizza pretty much every day. And Krishna is the ability in man. So let's say someone, becomes a that really sounds like a hive of bees coming at us.
I say we don't attract a hive of bees.
Someone may, become a professional snowboarder, and then that is, so Krishna, what Krishna wants and what pleases Krishna is not always so easy to understand. Now Krishna is speaking to us from within the heart, but what is the distinction between super soul and the mind? That's also another big question. How do we know? And there are three checks: Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So we should check these things that.
Yeah. Next paragraph. If one wants to perfect his life, he should discharge his prescribed duties for the satisfaction of Krishna. One must act in Krishna consciousness, for such action will never produce any reaction. Animita mitena. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yagna tat karmano anyatra. All activities should be performed simply for yagya, or the satisfaction of Vishnu. Anything done otherwise without the satisfaction of Vishnu or yagya produces bondage. So here it is also prescribed by Kapila Muni that one can transcend material entanglement by acting in Krishna consciousness, which means seriously engaging in devotional service. This serious devotional service can develop by hearing for long periods of time. Chanting and hearing is the beginning of the process of devotional service. One should associate with devotees and hear from them about the Lord's transcendental appearance, activities, disappearance, instructions, etc.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it says, hearing. What does it say? Hearing for a long time. By hearing for long periods of time. That's how you can develop serious devotional service. Constant hearing, because we have to, you're not going to surrender. Initially we come to the movement or meet devotees, oh, it's so nice, you like the person you first met, or you were at happened to come across Rath Yatra or some festival and you had fun. The initial romance trappings of anything new are going to wear off, even in relationships. And so input is required, knowledge is required, understanding. So it's like, you have to hear. It doesn't mean it's boring. Some people I often hear this in my, not this hat, but other hats, wearing like mentor or guiding, I don't like reading. I like this process. I'm in it for the long haul, but I just can't read, I just can't hear. But my point is always try to work out a nice, flexible, fun way that they can, because I personally do believe if you don't constantly hear from Prabhupada, from the from the scriptures, you run out of fuel. You will run out of Krishna conscious fuel. It can only go on for so long on the surface level of just, yeah, I like the food, you know. Yeah, I like to put this kirtan on and yeah, have a little jig around the kitchen or whatever. It's only so long one can do that. You have to, the roots have to be bedded down, and you have to, yeah, cultivate them. And hearing is there. And the more you hear, you will surrender, for sure. What are you doing?
I'm trying to adjust this thing.
That's going to be wrestling in the video now.
Sorry
about the wrestling while I was talking.
Sorry.
Alright, next paragraph.
Okay, I won't make any
Are you
comments. There are two kinds of shruti, or scripture. One is spoken by the Lord and the other is spoken about the Lord and his devotees. Bhagavad Gita is the former, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the latter. One must hear these scriptures repeatedly from reliable sources in order to become fixed in serious devotional service. Through engagement in such devotional service, one becomes freed from the contamination of Maya. Very powerful statements.
Yeah.
What was it? Repeatedly hear from reliable sources, and then you become fixed. It is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam that hearing about the Supreme Personality of Godhead cleanses the heart of all contamination caused by the influence of the three modes of material nature. By continuous, regular hearing, again, continuous and regular, the effects of the contamination of lust and greed to enjoy or lord over the material nature diminish. And when lust and greed diminish, one then becomes situated in the mode of goodness. This is the stage of Brahman realization, or spiritual realization. In this way, one becomes fixed on the transcendental platform. Remaining fixed on the transcendental platform is liberation from material entanglement. There you go. So it's kind of like that last section of that last paragraph. Gives the clear, definitive, like, summary of this whole point. That by continuous and regular hearing, the contamination of the heart is diminished. And when these contaminations are diminished, then we become situated in the mode of goodness. And this means coming to the platform of Nishta, or being fixed. This is the stage of Brahman realization, Brahma Bhuta. In this way, one becomes fixed on the transcendental platform, because you're actually becoming free from the modes of material nature. Remaining fixed on the transcendental platform is liberation. So once you continue to do that for some time, then you become free from the material entanglement. So there's the process. What do we need to do? We need to hear. What are we doing now? We're trying to hear. We're trying to chant. We're combining the two. We're hearing and chanting. Right now we're hearing from Srila Prabhupada, and we're repeating what he says and sharing our realization and trying to go deep. So we have to be doing this. All of us need to be doing this regularly. And this is why we started this Bhagavatam Bites, right?
Yeah.
We wanted to be hearing regularly, and we wanted to be sharing and encouraging others.
Yeah, inspiring and encouraging. Yeah, we all need to inspire and encourage each other on this path. We're all on the same side, you know. It's not like I'm going to get back before you, or I'm going to... Let's all help each other, because the material nature is very strong, you know, and it's very alluring. So it's much nicer to you pull me up, I pull you up, you know.
Pull you up in a helpful way, not pull you up like I pull you up for this.
No. Well, sometimes you need to, but no.
Okay, should we finish here?
Okay.
We only did one verse in purport today.
Yeah, but it sounds like your voice is going.
Yeah, well, I need to really cough. And
all right.
I know you hate it when I do that, so, and everyone on the line hates it.
Hate is a very strong word, but...
Hate, okay. It's annoying. It's annoying for me. We're going to finish here. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna. Thank you for tuning in.
Granted Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. Hare Hare.
Hare Bol.